Hey everybody! Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is good to be here with you all. I'll encourage you to, if you guys are just coming in, grab some pub mix and head on in here. It's good to be with you this morning. My name is Chris up here. If we haven't met yet, I hope we get a chance soon. Yeah, we got some music this morning, as you may have expected. This first one is from Foy Vance. It's called Burden. So just a little reminder that however you're coming in, you don't have to leave anything at the door. You don't have to check yourself. You can, as much as you're willing and able, you can trust your burdens with the people next to you in this space. Yeah, so this is Burden. Let me carry your burden. If something's not right, I will let you know. Like the paint that's drying on a heart that's broke. Let me carry your burden. Get you back on a high when you're feeling low. When the weight's too heavy but you won't let go. Come to me, my brother, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I'll see you smile, and you know you will. No matter how much you're hurting right now, you know that everything will change in time. So let me carry your burden. Let me carry your burden. Your mouth's on fire, but your mind is cold. And you're fanning flames that won't keep you warm. Come to me, my sister, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I'll see you smile, and you know you will. No matter how much you're hurting right now, know that everything will change in time. Carry your burden. Let me carry your burden. Come tomorrow, you'll be right as rain. It'll quench your fire, wash away your stains. Come to me, my brother, and I will sit with you a while. Pretty soon I'll see you smile, and you know you will. No matter how much you're hurting right now, know that everything will change in time. Might just see in another life. Got no dog here in this fight. You can carry your burden, oh brother mine. All right. You know what? I know we got kind of a weird arrangement going on today, but I'd encourage you, if you're feeling it, go ahead and stand up. Let yourself move around. Ian's going to be talking for a while, so you got to sit for a long time anyway. Just And you can feel free to hoot along with Bjorn here if you want. You can sing this part. This is a song about how we're all connected. I won't run, I will stay. I'm not leaving you. I know there's friction here. The struggle makes us new. I wish you never thought you had to go. I wish you never thought you had to leave. Never lift each other up. We can build a shelter for the weak. No one is an island you can be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. You don't have to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, oh, oh. I see fear in your eyes. There's no safety here. Oh, my friend, let me in and I will share your tears. You never thought you had to go. I wish you never thought you had to leave. We can always build each other up. We can build a shelter for the weak. Come on. No one is an island we can be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. You don't have to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, oh, oh. The trouble, rain, or fire, let's reach out to something higher. You know life outside each other, we are not alone. Through trouble, rain or fire, let's reach out to something higher. Eyes open to one another, we are not alone. Through trouble, rain or fire, let's reach out to something higher. Eyes open to one another, we are not alone. Through trouble, rain or fire, let's reach out to something higher. Eyes open to one another, we are not alone. No one is an island you can't be found. No one is an island, let your guard down. Please don't try to fight me, I am for you. We're not meant to live this life alone. Oh, 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 no one is alone. Oh, why you trying to fight me? We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. All right. Whew. Well, yeah. As you may have seen, our kids are leading the way here with some getting into their bodies. I appreciate that, guys. Speaking of that, I guess, I would invite you to just take a few deep breaths as it feels grounding to you. Feel your feet holding you up. Feel the stableness of the cement beneath you. You can close your eyes with another breath and imagine the earth that's beneath that, the foundations underneath here, the dirt, the clay, the sand, the stone, all that's beneath you, holding you up. I hope you feel that and feel like in some kind of mystical way this morning that you are held up, that you're held tight. You're reminded that you're loved, that you're enough. You can be you. And that is just right. I'd invite you to maybe just take a seat for this next one, as it's a little bit of a slower one. This one is it's a Ben Rector song called More Like Love. I used to think I wanted to be famous. I'd be recognized out in a crowd. But the funny thing is, anytime I've gotten what I want, it lets me down. So now I just want to look more like love. I just want to look more like love. This whole world is spinning crazy, and I can't quite keep up. It's the one thing around here that we don't have quite enough of. So I just want to look a little more like love. I used to think I needed all the answers. I used to need to know that I was right. I used to be afraid of things I couldn't cover up in black and white. Now I just want to look more like love. You sing that? I just want to look more like love. This whole world is spinning crazy, and I can't quite keep up. It's the one thing around here that we don't have quite enough of. So I just want to look a little more like love. Like love. I find the farther that I climb, there's always another line of mountain tops. It's never gonna stop. And the more of anything I do, the thing that always ends up true is getting what I want will never be enough. Now I just want to look more like love. I just want to look more like love. This whole world is spinning crazy, and I can't quite keep up. It's the one thing around here that we don't have quite enough of. So I just want to look a little more like love. Like love.
Is this me? All right, it's me.
Come on down.
Here I come. Welcome, everybody. I am Mimi Black, and I'm super excited to welcome you all to Fabric today. So welcome all of you sitting here in like this brew pub thing we got going on here. In the gathering space, welcome to those of you on the live stream. Welcome if you're brand new to Fabric. We're super excited that you found us here. If you have questions or want to talk more about us, at the end of the gathering, you can gather over by the question mark and the Chex Mix and find out some more. And then also a super special welcome to the kids. It's the second week of school. I'm a teacher. We've all been back to school, and that also means we're back to Fabric time with the Fabric Kids stuff in our normal rhythm during the school year. So if you're a kid right now, we're going to go get messy in the gym and the library. So preschool through 8th grade, head on off in that direction and find your grown-ups that will help you have some messy fun today. If you have like a baby or a toddler, they are welcome to stay in the gathering space. Kids can stay here too if they don't want to have messy fun. I mean, who would want to do that? But babies and toddlers, there's a spot for babies and toddlers in the library as well called the Nest, where there's toys and adults in there too to help. So if you would like to check that out, this is a good time to check that out too. Okay, and so for all of us boring people who are staying here and not being messy, let me acclimate you a bit to the space. So right over there, we've got coffee, water, tea, Chex Mix, which I'm loving, the Chex Mix vibe that we've got going on here for the last couple of weeks. Feel free to get up at any time and grab that stuff. If you need the bathroom, it's just to the left down this hallway. I'll run right into it. If you need a gender neutral restroom or a changing table, that is in the staff lounge. And so you can just follow the signs to that. Okay, what else? So we also have our Sunday paper. If you didn't happen to get one of those on your way in, you could snag one over in one of the baskets. That will tell you everything that's happening around Fabric right now. It's a great resource while you're here. Inside of that, there's a communication card. So make sure you fill that out. Drop us a note, comment, question, funny doodle, joke, whatever. We love to see those every week. So those go in the baskets. That will come around later. I think I've got everything. I think that was it. So now it's time to get up, mingle, talk to each other. If you need a topic, it's like summer outside now. That's really weird. So let's reminisce a bit about what our favorite thing this summer that we did was. So off you go. Thank you.
All right, I got the thumbs up. I think it's working. Hey, live streamers from the Dangerous Man space here. I don't know, if you're not local, you might not have heard of this cool brew pub that has been part of our Minneapolis neighborhoods for a while. And they closed, so this is an homage as we talk about the dangerous man of Jesus and how two sides of the same coin, right? Like, Jesus has been made kind of dangerous in some really dangerous in some ways that are pretty harmful, and is dangerous to some things that we need to be dangerous to. So we're trying to talk about that and really open up our eyes and get to know this Jesus story, this person. I don't know what your experience is. But that's the goal of this time, is to have a space and a conversation that's pretty thoughtfully curated by a bunch of people with a bunch of other thoughtful people who are wondering about life and how to practice, how to love and show up and be loved in this world that can feel a lot of things on any given day. So with whatever you're bringing this morning, may it be the kind of time that is that is refreshing and fulfilling for you, even though you're not here with us. We'd love to meet you in person and hear from you if possible. You can fill out our contact card on our website page or be part of the chat on the YouTube channel. We'll check for that too. So I think we're going to keep on going here. So stay tuned, and thanks again for joining us. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Good morning. It's good to be with you today. I'm Ian, he, him. Work around here as pastor with Fabric, and I'm glad to see so many of you this morning. So we're in the second week of this series on how Jesus was a dangerous man. And I just kind of want to start this morning by articulating sort of the underlying ethos of this series. And it's that in our sort of religious landscape, in our cultural landscape, Jesus often gets twisted into the wrong kind of dangerous. A kind of dangerous that makes him kind of a spokesperson or a mascot for a kind of oppressive power that seeks to harm others. And so what we're trying to do is to hold a posture of curiosity and conviction that Jesus was then and now a different kind of dangerous. And today, we're going to talk a little bit about how Jesus was dangerous because he erased the lines that people draw between like us and them. Okay? That made him a direct threat to systems that rely on keeping people divided. So the first thing I want to just name out loud, because this is a historical truth throughout history. When you look at empires and you look at people who would seek to make an empire, what you're going to find is that there is a common playbook with a shared goal. And that is to keep people divided. Because if we are too busy fighting each other, we won't notice who's holding all the power up at the top. So last week, what we started with was talking about power. That Jesus is ultimately dangerous to power, to hoarded power. Power in itself is something that we all have. But when it's hoarded and when it's used over others, that's the wrong kind of dangerous. That puts people's lives at risk, right? We see it being played out. So it was true then, it's true now, right? That there's, we the way we see it play out in a lot of arenas is, people, particularly politicians and those who support politicians, using wedge issues to distract from the concentration of wealth and power at the top. So things like race and immigration and sexuality and all these things that really matter for people, for who they are, their sense of self, who we are as community, right? The beauty of diversity within and around us. We also see it in everyday divisions, like religion and politics and class, things that keep neighbors from recognizing one another's humanity, right? We're made to fight each other, to fear each other, to have wedges between us, to focus on the distance between me and you, right? And it causes separation. And so the first fill-in on the back of your Sunday paper is this, that separation isn't an accident, it's a strategy. In just a minute, I'm going to show you a video of Bill Eddy. He's the founder of the High Conflict Institute. The High Conflict Institute, which is an organization that's devoted to helping both individuals and organizations deal with high conflict people. So it's just under 4 minutes, this video that we're going to watch. But it explains Bill Eddy's view of the reality of the strategic separation of populations now and throughout history. He calls people who use this strategy to like divide and conquer, right? To sort of trigger us into these different groups. He calls them high conflict politicians. And they all use the tools at their disposal. So whether it's speeches, right? The things that we say out loud, or media, or smear campaigns, and all sorts of things that these leaders do, these high conflict politicians do to trigger people into 4 categories rather than finding themselves identifying as one connected population. So on the back of your Sunday paper here, it's laid out because he goes through it pretty quickly, but I wanted to give you this at least. You can jot down whatever notes you want as he describes these 4 groups, but they're the loving loyalists, the riled up resistors, the mild moderates, and the distant dropouts. We love an alliteration, don't we? So let's get into it. Let's play this video of Bill Eddy.
High conflict politicians, or what I call wannabe kings, because that's really what they want. They want to take over and eliminate opposition. How they effectively gain power in an election, and we're not talking about people that just became dictators from a war or something. We're talking about people getting elected. And what happens is they put out all this emotional message, all these emotional words, and these emotional words tend to trigger people into 4 different groups. And I call this the 4-way voter split. What happens is they're loving loyalists. They seduce by saying, you're wonderful, you and I want the same thing, we know and believe in all of that. It's really calculated because most of these politicians shift all over politically to see what works to get them power. So they say to the loving loyalists what the loving loyalists want to hear. And so the loving loyalists just go, we love this person, and then they change their politics. It's all right, we're already in love. So that's maybe 30% of people. Then, on the other side of that, they trigger the riled up resistors. And the riled up resistors are emotionally hooked and they're angry. They don't like this person. They see this person as very dangerous and a threat to society. And we've got to do something about this person. But they're emotionally engaged as well. Then there's the mild moderates. And to some extent, they're kind of stuck. They don't know, well, is this different or is this politics? And they generally view it through the lens of this is politics. So if they're on our side politically, we'll support them, but we don't like the personality. We wish the person would stop talking so much. And if they're on the other side, they go, we don't like his personality, but we really don't like his politics. But they're kind of mild moderates, so they're not really emotionally activated. In fact, they may actually be emotionally intimidated because they don't want to get fired upon by the verbal tongue lashing that HCPs are always putting out. But then the 4th group is the disenchanted dropouts. And these folks feel emotionally pushed away. It's like, just leave me out of this. I'm not political. I don't want to be involved. And in all the countries where we see high conflict politicians rising to leadership, there's a huge percent of people that emotionally drop out. And so they don't need a majority of people. Typically, they may have 40%, maybe 45% of the vote, but these high conflict politicians rarely get over 50%. But because they're able to divide these other groups, that they push away the disenchanted dropouts so they just don't vote. And the riled up resistors go with maybe extreme candidates who don't have a chance. And the mild moderates often have a candidate that has a chance, but the moderates and the resistors are opposing each other, mostly because the high conflict politician has divided them. And so what we see over and over again around the world is they're getting into power with less than a majority of people because they're able to divide this four-way voter split.
If you're anything like me, it's not...
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. If you're anything like me, it's not hard to see how this strategy gets played out, how it's being played out now, right? To split people, to make us fight each other, so that actually people don't have the ability to actually change anything, do anything. This is I should say just one way of looking at the world, right? At politics, at whatever. They say in polite company, don't talk about religion and politics, and we're not polite company here. But it's not difficult to see how this strategy can play itself out in our modern context, the political, the social, the religious landscapes. We have seen it play out for years. The more history you learn, you see it play out for centuries, that this is a strategy. Separation is a strategy. And this past week, with the political violence, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we're seeing what has always been true in empire systems. We've seen it made plain in this moment, where violence begets violence, whether that's physical violence or rhetorical violence, emotional violence. Violence begets violence. We've watched it this week. It's true this week, and it was true too in Jesus' day. And so when we're talking about this in this series related to kind of the real Jesus, like the Jesus of history, the Jesus of that is recorded in the actual Bible, right? I made reference to like fan fiction. There's all sorts of Christian fan fiction, but when we look at like the Jesus of the Bible, we see that he regularly worked to try to get those around him to elevate their thinking, to elevate their consciousness, to be able to recognize this exact strategy. And so in Luke 10, there's this account of a legal expert, a sort of religious legal expert, in a public display of political and religious theater, who has clearly been confronted with what Jesus was telling people and teaching about, and uncomfortable about it, and trying to entrap Jesus with an overly simplistic question, setting him up to just get destroyed, to look foolish, and ultimately to get him killed. So this legal expert says, "Teacher, what must I do to gain abundant life?" And Jesus recognizes immediately the tactic, I imagine, because he probably got it all the time. And he responds, instead of answering the question, he responds with his own question. He says to this legal expert, "What's written in the law, and how do you interpret it?" And the legal scholar responds, You must love God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus says to him, "Yeah, you've answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." Right? But the legal expert wanted to prove that he was more right. Because you can't just walk away from a debate. You have to twist it, right? And make your opponent look foolish. So he says, "Okay, then who is my neighbor?" And this is where it gets interesting. This is where Jesus gets dangerous. He doesn't really engage the question. Not directly, at least. He doesn't follow the debate format that this legal expert is accustomed to. Instead, he tells a story. And because we're this is like a heavy thing, and it's been a heavy week, I'm going to ask the clowns of the movie Godspell to help tell the story for me. So let's watch the first part of it.
A man was on his way from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell among robbers who beat him, stripped him, and left, leaving him half dead. It so happened a priest came upon him. But when he saw him, he went past on the other side. So too a judge came to the place and saw him, and he went past on the other side. But a Samaritan was making the journey.
So we're going to pause it here for just a second because Samaritan might not mean anything to you. So Samaritans are not us. They're them. They're them. They're definitely not us. They use a cantina to play their soundtrack. The entire audience around Jesus when he's telling the story would have known immediately what he was doing. That the Samaritans, like whether you were the religious expert or a big old fan of Jesus or just a curious bystander, when he mentions in this storytelling moment Samaritans, they knew exactly what was going on. The Samaritans are solidly not us. They're different. Their cultural traditions, probably their menus, their food, their songs, their everything, their religion, everything is different. It's different than ours. And because of that, they're probably dangerous, right? There's a very clear us and them in this moment, and everybody around knows about it. They pose a threat to our way of life. They are, in this era, when Jesus lived, they were the scapegoat du jour for the Palestinian Jewish people who were being oppressed by the Roman Empire. And so that cultural understanding has probably been used in this time. That understanding of the Samaritans being whatever they are, dangerous, has been used and abused to keep all the poor folks separated from each other, right? So in that culture that Jesus is operating in, they've probably used the Samaritans to try to make sure that everybody, keeps infighting with each other, and you don't want to be like them. So then Jesus continues his storytelling from here. I just want to make sure we know what a Samaritan is and what's going on.
He came upon him, and when he saw him, he was moved to pity. He went up and bandaged his wounds, bathing them in oil and wine. Then he put him onto his own beast and brought him to an inn and looked after him there. The next day, he produced 2 pieces of silver and gave them to the innkeeper and said, "Look after him, and if you spend any more, I will repay on my way back."
And after he had told that story, in such a clowny way, I'm sure, Jesus turned to the legal expert and said to him, "What do you think? Which one of these 3 was a neighbor to the man who encountered the thieves?" And the legal expert stomped his feet and probably pouted a little bit, and then he said, "The one who demonstrated mercy toward him." And Jesus said, "Go and do likewise." Like, make that your way of being. It was storytelling that for the legal expert, maybe, but certainly everybody around. It was a storytelling that cracked open the public imagination to the possibility that those who they thought were the enemy become the hero. Or if not the hero, they at least become fellow humans, worthy of dignity and respect and honor. When the smug religious legalist asks Jesus, "Who is my neighbor?" he was hoping for a clear boundary, right? Like a line between insiders and outsiders so that he could take a clip of Jesus' response in 90 seconds or less and put it on social media and make him look like an idiot. Or at least get him killed. Is kind of what was going on. Jesus answers with a story where the enemy, the Samaritan, is the one who actually lives out what we like to call around Fabric God's big vision of love. It's what Jesus called the kingdom of God. And this storytelling, this simple act of storytelling, destroys the boundary. Suddenly, the concept of like who's in and out, the concept of holiness, right? Like whatever that means for you right now. I think what Jesus was doing is making the concept of holiness, which was typically tightly guarded and defined by purity laws, and setting some up as insiders, others as outsiders. What he was doing is making it not about ritual purity or status or religious correctness, saying the right things, doing the right practices. It was really about, he turned it into something akin to a compassion and a love that crosses those arbitrary lines. All of a sudden, where they are different than us, all of a sudden they start to look a lot more like us than we've been led to believe. Jesus deliberately erases us versus them. And this is really uncomfortable for anybody unlucky enough to be around him when he's telling this story. And for me, it's still uncomfortable because in a lot of ways, I have a me and an us, and I have a them, right, in my life. And so it gets really uncomfortable. So here's the risk. What makes Jesus a dangerous guy here is that by collapsing separation, even just in storytelling that sparks public imagination, he threatens structures that rely on keeping people separated, on keeping the good us here and the Samaritans over there, whoever they are actually closer to us. He's destroying, he's threatening the structures that rely on keeping people separated, and engages in, it threatens the structures that engage in bad faith debate and infighting instead of healthy relationship with one another. Jesus made in this moment holiness or godliness or whatever look surprisingly human. It's not about priestly robes, but it's actually about bandaging wounds. It's not about temple rituals, but it's about paying somebody's bill. It's about providing mutual aid, investing in the well-being of others, even if it doesn't do anything for you. It was dangerous then, and it's dangerous now. Then, it was dangerous because the Roman Empire and the religious leaders and those who were sort of undergirded and funded and supported by empire relied on separation, right? So there's like Jewish people and there's Gentile non-Jewish people. There are men and there are women, and that's it, and there's different roles for them. There was rich and there was poor. There was pure and there's impure. There's clean and unclean. We could go on. But the empire relied on these divisions to keep people separate. And maintaining the line between and meant maintaining control. As soon as you rip that line up or recognize that the line isn't real, oh boy, do we have a problem. It's dangerous now because separation still protects power now. Race, class, sexuality, gender, immigration status, political affiliation, these are all wielded as tools to divide, to keep people separate. And I think that when we realize that we belong to each other, it destabilizes these systems that are built on domination. I really, truly believe that we collectively are one moment of collective consciousness away from realizing the potential we have all together to create or recreate something worth working towards. I think we're one moment away. If love crosses lines, oppressive power loses its grip. When love crosses lines, oppressive power loses its grip or its chokehold on people. So I'm going to invite you just for a moment to think about our reality today. Where do we still enforce separation, whether it's consciously or subconsciously? Who do we avoid or dismiss or label as distinctly other? How do we benefit from these lines that have been drawn to keep people apart? For me, I know, really this comes down, in order to engage this honestly, I got to be honest about, my own identity markers, right? There are all sorts of ways that I am a part of sort of a dominant and a dominating culture. And I benefit from separation being enforced. And in all the ways that I'm a part of dominant culture, there are others who need me to cross some boundaries, to close the separation. That's on me to do, right? In the ways that I am part of dominant culture. Also for me, if I'm honest about all the identity markers I carry, there are ways that I'm not part of dominant culture. Like, as a person with a chronic, as of yet uncurable disease, type 1 diabetes, I also need more people outside of that part of me to know about it, to cross boundaries, to join the struggle for resources and advocacy and understanding, right? And so my invitation for us, for all of us, is what line would it be dangerous for you to cross this week for the sake of undermining the artificial power of separation. Jesus was called dangerous because he challenged divisions and he made belonging more possible. I think he saw what I honestly miss most of the time, that separation is often created and strategically nurtured by those who benefit from it consciously or not. And this kind of sets us up for the next week of this series, where if he was dangerous to power, which we talked about last week, and today he's dangerous to separation, if that's true, then he was also dangerous to what people thought was normal, right? Like business as usual, cultural norms, these kinds of things. So we're going to talk more about that next week. But for now, what I would offer is that my hope, my deep hope and prayer even, is that going into this week, we might recognize in ourselves the courage to cross lines, to risk belonging, and to consider what it might feel like to experience freedom or liberation from the separations that keep us apart. May it be so.
If you would, go ahead and find those little white bags on the floor probably near you. And I'd invite you to put your communication cards in there. And I want to say thank you for all the ways that you put yourself into this community. Yes, we do sometimes, some of us put money into those bags too for the ongoing support of this. If you're new around here, just know that's not something that we expect of you. But yeah, that's one of the ways that I feel really grateful that that we help contribute to this community, staying around. This next song is hopefully one that gives a little bit of guts to what Ian was saying. It's from the Brilliance, and we'll come back to this refrain of, when I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, or I see my sister. I would encourage you to just wonder at that a little bit, and all of the enemies that we may imagine. Sometimes the one that we see in the mirror, and I encourage you to just take that in just a little bit this morning and say, yeah, I see you. I see a sibling. I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my sister, I see my sister. My enemy, I see my brother, I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my sister, I see my Forgiveness is the garment of our courage, the power to make the peace we long to know. Open up our eyes to see the wounds that bind all of humankind. May our troubled hearts greet the dawn of life with charity and love. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother. I see my brother. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my sister. I see my sister. When I look into the face of my enemy, I see my brother. I see my brother. Would you stand up, please? Yeah, this is an old Lenny Kravitz tune. Love is gentle as a rose, and love can conquer any war. It's time to take a stand. Sisters, join hands. We've got to let love rule. Let love rule. You sing that out now? Let love rule. Love transcends all space and time, and love can make a little child smile. Can't you see? This won't go wrong. But we got to be strong. We can't do it alone. We've got to let love rule. Yeah, sing it out now. Let love rule. Let love rule. We sing this together and sing Let Love Rule. Let love rule. Yeah, we got to
Y'all sound good today. I swear, Lenny Kravitz is here. Okay, so, wait, is it me? It's me, right? Yeah, okay, sweet. So, a couple of things before we go. One is we just have a special sort of community moment of celebration. CJ is celebrating her 40-year and 2 days sobriety today. And went to a concert this morning and then hoofed it all the way over here to be with us. So really, congratulations. And also, at the, yes, well done. If you would like to come down, we're going to just have a moment, like a ritual kind of knot tying moment with CJ. It's one of the ways that we sort of ritualize big moments. And so if you want to meet at the candles afterwards and we can just have a moment to celebrate CJ and that accomplishment, please do come down. And then the next thing is, we've got on the back of your Sunday paper, there's 4 questions that are kind of seed planters for conversation, whether it's in the car ride home or within your family or with your group, if you're a part of a group. If you're not, you can go to the high top table over there and learn more about groups. But we also have for kids in here a Let's Get Messy
Let's get
packet.
messy. Yep, there's some questions on the back for that, for kids and families to talk about, and a cool science experiment. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Okay.
Want to practice a question?
Let's practice one of the questions.
All right, this is how it could go at like your dining room table, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Heidi, what does it feel like to be left out?
Oh, yeah, we talked about that today. I often feel sad, and I feel lonely,
Yeah.
and I feel even maybe a little invisible, which makes me feel not so great about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about you?
Well, so I agree with all that, but I also, one thing I know about myself is that when I feel sad, it goes to anger too. Like I feel angry. Yeah.
The experiment just happened in the back.
Yeah, there's a lot of squealy joy
Squeals.
back there. So yeah, I feel anger, and I don't know if it's just me that sadness turns to anger sometimes, but that happens for me too.
Yeah, we watched a video with the kids in the gym today where there was a little sister that got left out.
Yeah.
And she felt alone and lonely and isolated, all those things. And then it turned to her showing up with not acting as her best self. She took some of her sister's things and kind of wrecked them. And I think that's true for us too. Like we kind of act out when we are feeling left out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know
Good
I did
job.
that to my sister, so Bryn, if you're watching this, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And also, there are popcorn kernels on the back, and I imagine this has something to do with an experiment.
So there's a little science experiment that you can do. And one of the things that we sort of talked about in the back is that not only should we be kind and invite people in, but wondering about what are we missing when not everyone is included.
Yeah.
And so this experiment sort of shows that, well, when we add all the ingredients together, when everyone is part of God's big vision of love, well, there's some cool stuff that happens.
All right.
So you're going to get you can take some popcorn kernels home, and then there's directions on the back of the card of what to do.
Excellent. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
That's really
All right.
exciting.
And I'll be over here handing
Okay,
those out.
sounds good. Please do bring the questions, ask each other, spend some time with them. And if you want to learn more about groups too, because that's another way, all we do here on Sunday mornings is pitch you a softball, and you can take a swing at it if you want, however you want to. So over here at the high top, you can learn about groups, and let's just dive into this. Take what you like, take what's good, take what's helpful, leave the rest. That's okay to do. And with that, this week on Wednesday, Fabric turns 19 years old. We've been doing this for 19 years! Hey! So next Sunday, we're going to celebrate with root beer floats. Yeah? Root beer floats. So come next week, have a root beer float, hang out, it'll be great. And with that, let's go weave good fabric, huh? Yeah, thanks for being here.